It's time for Cannabuzz TV's 420 Perspective with your host, myself, Kevin R. Shakir. Today's guests are Reverend Floyd Harris and King Tut. Reverend Harris, will you introduce yourself and basically tell me what you do for the West Fresno community?
Yes, thank you for having me on the show. My name is Reverend Dr. Floyd E. Harris Jr. I'm assistant pastor here at New Life and Light Church of God. I'm also the international president of National Network in Action, which is a civil and human rights organization based here on the West Coast. Part of many organizations here in the community and across the country. And those know me as a political activist, whatever your take on that is, and just stand for the people, speak for the voiceless, speak for those who are hopeless, and just bring people together so that those who don't have a voice have a voice. So that's kind of what I do here in West Fresno.
Wonderful. Well, we're glad to have you right here on Cannabuzz TV and the 420 Perspective. King Tut, I know we've known each other throughout the years, and it's time for you to now be known by everyone out here in the Fresno community. If you could give us a little bit of history on you and basically what you do with Reverend Harris.
Okay. King Tut Moses, from the East Coast, Philadelphia to be exact. Came out here about 2004, 2005. When I say here, I mean the West Coast. From LA, then I moved up to Fresno. Met up with Reverend Harris. Ever since then, it's been beautiful. Brother right here is like pretty much only people I like to work with the mind state and the drive that he has. Very powerful brother. Affiliated Family is my business, and it encompasses a lot of things as far as music, fashion, movies, photography, videography, all the good stuff.
That's wonderful. So basically, you talk about an independent,
Yes,
you're an independent business owner. Yeah, that's the way to go. The reason why I appreciate both of you gentlemen coming here is because, as you know, I'm a cannabis advocate. A lot of folks out there really are trying to understand cannabis and where is this movement going. It kind of is hitting the scene, and as we know, daily there's news coming out about pros and cons on cannabis. So I'm here today to kind of, break the ice in the community and talk about basically the cannabis knowledge. So, just to go Cannabis 101, now King Tut, you know a little bit about the cannabis plant, but I know Reverend Harris earlier, he was asking me a couple of questions about, where, basically, and people get, when you say cannabis, weed, pot, all of the different names. The bottom line is it's a plant for one, and there's basically you have two sides. You have I should say you have the hemp plant, and then which is usually used as THC. It's known as the THC plant. Okay. And then you have basically and that's the male plant. And then you have the female plant, which would be the one that actually has the euphoria and gets you high, bottom line. And that would be the THC is basically what it's known by as far as technical terms. Now, what's going on is a lot of the medicines that are out with herbal medicines that people are using, home remedy. I don't want to even call them home remedies. I'm gonna call them daily regimens of using a plant-based diet. People are eating hemp seeds. People are now actually having the THC, and they're from everything. Grand mal seizures. You have fibromyalgia, which is the topical creams. So those are used for that. So, those are the things that are being found out in the community. Not found out in the community, but that is being released right now in our nation. The reports, we're asking for different studies. Our governmental agencies are asking for studies. It's tested a lot. A lot of states are coming on with it. In Fresno, we have kind of like a little, I don't want to even call it a moratorium, but it's just, we've viewed cannabis over here as a incarceration type tool. I think it's, a lot of young folks have been incarcerated for not just that one charge. Of course, it leads to other charges, but the way it's viewed in our community is like, hey, there's another drug bust. Marijuana was found they'll say marijuana first, and then they'll say cocaine, and they might even say opiates and stuff like that, crack, or back in the day it was crack, but now it's, I guess the other one. Meth. You can tell I'm not that other one, meth. So, those words come up, and I think what we're trying to do at Cannabuzz, Normal, the Association for Safe Access, those organizations are here to educate. And so today, what we really want to do is, I gave you kind of like a little opening on what's going on with the industry a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So I covered a little bit of areas, but what do you think is the perception in our community right now? Like as of today, even though we know that it's passed, how do you feel it's affecting our community right now? What do you see happening?
Well, I've always grew up uneducated about, they have different terminologies, weed, pot, whatever, and it was always a negative thing, negative perception that, don't do that, don't, but then I said, well, I can drink alcohol, but I can't smoke weed. But both of them have, especially the alcohol, when you start talking about drinking and driving,
correct.
That's actually sold, it's able to be sold in the corner store with different varieties of Coors, Bud, Coke 45, Cisco. So many, different varieties of, and, as I'm learning all of this now, I believe that, I'm not a scholar in alcohol and whiskey, but I think that's a man-made substance that's somebody's making it, putting all of it in one barrel or something. Moonshine used to be illegal at one time in this country.
Right. Correct.
I heard stories of my grandpa had a steel or something way back in the woods. They used to be back in the woods.
It's pretty much how it is. Yeah, it's definitely, and I think they're still back in the woods doing it. I've heard tell of moonshine still showing up.
And I guess it was in the woods for a reason, because they didn't want to be public with it, right?
Correct.
But then, I hear stories, and I'm gonna do some research on, because I was thinking about that today before you came. Like, I said, I remember my grandma was telling me some stories about my grandpa about moonshine, and then all of a sudden it was illegal, but now it's legal. Right. But then when we start talking about this conversation, there's so many, even coming from a civil rights, international civil rights leader, dealing with, raids, pulling blacks over, checking their cars out. Oh, they got an ounce of this or 2 ounces of that, and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, and if you look at how many of our black brothers are locked up in prison right now, that's been convicted, has been serving some life terms, sentence, over this. And it's like, and I'm looking at how much money the state is making on incarcerating our brothers behind this, or sisters. And then they come to me, I said, well, wow, it's a plant.
Right. It's a plant, and I want to say that it's a plant that actually has been used to help us in our cultures, in cultures and literally in America. Right. We actually if you look at some of the laws, they have been reversed. Some of the laws, like the hemp law, it was for farmers. They had to grow hemp back in the 40s, late 30s and early 40s, and then in the 50s, and it got outlawed because of textiles. So, with that said, and I think you did hit on a key point that I definitely wanted to bring up. So, our perception pretty much is whatever the media feeds us, and pretty much because I know that we are a strong faith-based community here in Fresno and throughout the surrounding areas. So I think that usually becomes the first line of defense is like, well, does God really, that's a drug? And I think a lot of people, we don't, I agree with folks. I'm not into drugs. I don't, so I don't want to ever flood our communities with anything that's going to hurt our community. I will say that has been a lot of incarceration there with the cannabis. And I think the new movement right now, with the laws being changed and reversed, it will help. But again, I think it's the same thing. I think without knowledge, you can't really actually find that path. So to be simple with my conversation, I would say that we definitely need to educate our communities about what's going on right now. So the same thing with right here at the 420 perspective. I think the biggest thing is for us to hold this conversation one time, come back and hold some other conversations where people are getting the fact that we definitely need to address some of the factors that are there. One of the main ones is the incarceration piece. There's going to be companies that are going to come and settle in, and if our folks especially the African American community, if they don't see that that you have to have a business model, you're going to be able to, people are like, the underground scene, is it going to be able to happen? No, you're going to be able to grow your own plants. But the underground is going to, I don't want to say be cut out. We don't know what form it's going to come in as. Right. So why worry about that? Why not go on top of the ground and start forming, advocate groups that will help to direct minorities of all ethnicities to programs that will help them from being disenfranchised by the economic disparities of their area. So to kind of key in on what that means, say if you had a dispensary, if I lived in West Fresno, do I want that dispensary to be way over on the east side of town and the north side of town, and I have to travel from the west side all the way over there, and I'm a patient if I have cancer, if I have situations where I can't drive, Tourette's, right. Like I said, you have seizures, those kind of situations you're in, even with women, female problems, there are products that are out, but I should have to travel outside my comfort to get that. So those need to be addressed, not, I would say not to Cannabuzz or us. I think it needs to be addressed to the community by way of council, of the city council members, who you vote in. So those are really important for everyone to get. So getting on to another one of our, because I think that, like I said, the perception is there. We did cover crime a little bit. So I think, again, how do you feel about that, King Tut? I mean,
the criminal aspect?
The criminal aspect, and I know that you, along with Reverend Harris, deal with a lot of youth out here. Right. So there's been a lot of death over here in West Fresno, and let's keep it real, 100. There's been folks now. Is it because of cannabis? I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say that I just know that our West Fresno area has a quote unquote situation that deals with everything from, so from what I'm hearing, and I'll be quiet after this statement, is that there isn't any jobs, there isn't anything for the youth out here. And so in the cannabis industry, as we see, there are jobs that are flourishing and coming up real soon. So can you comment on where the youth are in the community and the struggles? And it could be both, but both of you.
Okay. Well, start off, I think that a lot of times is that we get caught up in the criminal aspect of it is because I lack an understanding of how it works in the law system.
Mm-hmm.
So we might be breaking rules over here in Fresno.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say like Fresno city is different than the county.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of you live in the city. So a lot of people have that, they don't understand that their laws are different when you go to the country opposed to the city. So you might have people in Clovis that might be able to do it. I don't know this for sure, but
I
I'm just
understand.
saying.
Yeah.
So, but the laws are different, but a lot of us are not given the laws. So we
True.
know which way we can do what we have. And the other part of it is that these youngins are dying because, marijuana plays a part only because of the financial representation it has, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with that being stated, so they're killing each other over that because there's no jobs or anything that's available for them. So that's the only thing they know because they're not really, a lot of them not educated in a university, college, so they're going to get a job, or even was taught by like Reverend Harris,
mm-hmm.
that could teach them how to make the money legit and just be prideful,
Mm-hmm.
So they don't have those things. A lot of those are detached. So they go to like selling drugs or
mm-hmm.
selling marijuana.
Or
and
the other selling women and
old women, things
yeah,
like that.
Yeah.
So, but if we can open up something for them where they could sell it legally,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of them are doing it illegally, look how effective they'll be because they know it.
Correct.
So,
and so they're already self-educated
right.
on the aspects of how to be a salesperson or a distributor. So they just need the component of business savvy and how to dress the part, how to walk. That's all you get. I do come. That's the reason why I said I don't even want to make a comment negative about even the pimping side. As you see that in our governmental situation, there's a lot of situations where things have been just discovered, and I think even in cannabis, as the young men of all minority sectors start understanding that there is a business side to it. Like it's a business,
right.
And it does hurt when you first start out. So I think if we have coalitions that can get together with these young men
mm-hmm.
and young women that are trying to start their business, and maybe they might have a little capital, they don't have $100,000 to start.
Right, but that's where the elder's supposed to come in, and with me being like I say, like a bridge through that, it's like if we can develop something where they don't have to do anything illegal and looking over their shoulder every second because they're doing something illegal. But they're basically essentially doing the same thing. It's just the fact that one's illegal and one's not, just because you're ignorant of the law.
Correct.
Now, if we can implement something and we can take care of them and then keep them doing the same thing they're doing just legally,
Mm-hmm.
look at the impact. Because all the drugs that come through Fresno, these young boys, they not making that money. Somebody else is making it.
Oh, for sure.
So if we know somebody else is making it, that means somebody else is structured. Somebody else is well more educated in the laws. And that's how they maneuver, and some people get up and some people don't. So the basic thing is that we have to educate people. And it's going to be difficult, like dealing with some of the elders, because they always looked at it as negative. Marijuana was negative, right? So with that being stated, it's going to be hard to try to convince them for them to relinquish what they have in their head.
Right.
Okay? But then you got the younger ones that's younger than the elders, like Reverend Harris. He understands, and he's willing to bridge that gap, And then, But a lot of the young ones might not want to listen to him because of his age. So then it goes like that to my age. But then you still have some youngins that want to listen to me because of my age. But there's always going to be a connection through all of us in the age brackets. So, and that's what we need to use to run, because they will respect Reverend Harris more if Reverend Harris had like a lot more money for them to give him jobs, because they see like, oh, he's more effective. But that's why you think they stop him all the time, because they don't want them to empower the youngins, you know? So we can do that within ourselves because we know enough people in the neighborhoods and in different communities. We come together, pull it together. Marijuana is a big business.
It's big business. And it's, I'm sorry for cutting you off. I was going to say it's even bigger business that's happening in like countries like Canada. Canada's getting ready to go all legal, both recreational, and it's already been legal medical, but it will go recreational. They're standing to make within the next 3 years, like almost 3 point something billion in like a year, like a 2 year period. You know what I'm saying? So we're talking about billions of dollars, not millions.
Right.
And so that moves countries. It doesn't. That's a country situation. Now, you know, you add that up times where are we at? California, right here, Fresno, the farm capital.
What's Fresno known for?
Of the world, not even.
That's what Fresno's known for. Now, if we start doing that in Fresno, look how much you're going to disrupt. There's going to be a lot of disruption, because now you got to have land, and then the demand is so high. Look how much land we're going to need to generate that much marijuana to take care of the majority of the country.
Right, because it's a big thing, and it's like with us, you know, there's different ways to farm now, and so we have the actual technology here to actually educate. And this is what I'm finding out: the science that's involved in cannabis is incredible. Like I said, when we talk about CBD, you know, cannabidiol, okay. It starts from the letter A to Z. So that's how many different variances in the actual traits of the plant. There's variations and combinations of those variations when you put like cannabinol, like CBD with CBL. So that creates CBBL, you know? Right. Or so what I probably said around CBDL, yeah. So that's where we're at with this. And in conclusion, we will wrap this up. And I appreciate your time, but I just want to say I appreciate how we're actually getting to the root of how we can, you know, help to bring this out to our community. And then discuss this later on again with the 420 perspective starting out, and this being one of the first episodes. I appreciate you folks coming on and definitely lending an ear. King Tut,
no problem.
Definitely appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Respect.
Reverend Harris,
but you
respect.
know, I was just sitting here thinking about when we started talking about, and there's one thing about in the African American community. Even if you go all the way back to history, you know, over 400 years of black folks being enslaved in this country, we are a people that this country cannot kill off. They have tried to do it through slavery. We built over 40 cities after slavery with our bare hands. Our black people didn't have Facebook, live stream, Instagram, laptops, iPhones, i6s. We had none of that. And black people built cities and communities just like the city of Fresno.
Correct.
My point is this, is that it all goes back to economics. It's important to understand that the tax base of it will benefit our community. Now, we're not responsible for if you go to the corner store and someone buy a 12-pack and they decide to drink it all up, you know, and they go out and they kill someone. that's not our responsibility. That's that individual responsibility. He made or she made the choice to overdrink. So if someone was to oversmoke or whatever, get high and they do something bad or more, you can't blame that on the whole industry. That was an individual act that person, he or she did. But I'm bringing it back to economics now, because you have to understand that California, right, is a state that's supposed to be liberal, but it's really not. California is a state that believes in incarcerating people to build its tax revenue base to keep this state running. You see what I'm saying? So it has nothing, so the education piece that we're talking about is very crucial to educate people, right? Because I see more people drinking and driving, killing folk, than I see people dealing with a plant.
Right.
Correct. I mean, they're trying to make tests to test that, and I'm like, okay, well, and I know, and we're talking just on my cannabis use to, I mean, you can't test my level. My level is so high right now. You got to have a starting point for me. Like, did you test me before I entered the car to see what my starting point was, or are you creating this? So just to elaborate very little on what you're saying, we have people that are also making these rules and regulations and laws that aren't cannabis smokers, so they don't even understand the margins of what it takes. So you're saying 10 milligrams, like for me, 10 milligrams won't even register on even a teardrop in my system. So 10 milligrams, I'm at like 1,800 milligrams at my, when I actually medicate. So when you're talking about 1,800 milligrams, that's a lot. But they also have products that are cannabis-based that are 8,000 milligrams, and it is stronger than opium. So, but it will make you sleep. It will not kill your nerve cells. Right. So those are the things we are, and to elaborate one more step further, all of us in our DNA have endocannabinol, cannabinol receptors, and the plant has ectocannabinol receptors. So as they join together, it was meant for that plant to be in our system. Now, do you have to smoke it? No. You can ingest it through oils or food. You can actually use it as topicals. There's so many different suppositories for folks that have colon cancer. They have suppositories built for that. So for women, tampons for their cycles. So they have different items that we use that plant for.
Right.
Nice.
So again, is there anything else you'd like to say, King Tut or Reverend Harris?
No, just basically you want the people to focus on the fact that it's a good business, it's a big business, and it's so multifaceted.
Yes.
Like from using the hemp for fabric, you can use it. So it's a good product to have that we can use renewable. And it's biodegradable. If we have water bottles,
correct.
And you can sit in the ocean, big blob of plastic, right?
Oh yes, I've been hearing about that.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a lot of good, beneficial things, but I do think the main thing we have to do is those who want to be on board, we have to educate them, and we'll try to work with the elders. And another thing, it's just important that Dr. Reverend Harris here. I don't think any other reverend in this area will be okay. We'll sit there and understand, even take time to understand the science behind it, the politics behind it. That's why, it's win all over the board. It's just a win.
I really appreciate that.
Yes,
and I did, when he told me that it was going to be you, that was going to be his side partner, I was like, oh, for sure. Those are two key individuals that are here that will speak their mind, speak the truth and what they feel, and not hold anything back. I know with me, it's always a discovery. with this here journey. It's not a simple journey because it's like, am I bringing the public the right thing? And so with that, again, I wanted to address the all aspects of our community. So we are going to go deep. We're going to go deep in the political scene too, with the new candidates that are running for office, council office. Right. So we're going to talk to a few of them and see who's actually going to come on board and be on the 420 perspective with Kevin R. Shakir. So again, appreciate you folks coming in with us, and we will be bringing you more interviews like this in the near future. So remember, check out our show. It is the Cannabuzz TV show. You can check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and also Instagram. Thank you very much for checking us out. We'll be back soon. Valley's first all 420 stream, Cannabuzz Radio. More than a high, catch the buzz. Cannabuzz Radio.